Hey everyone, I am just coming back from the gym. I actually did a late night session. Never again. I was in one place. It was so crowded. I was in one place where I started, and then 10 minutes, unbeknownst to me, a class was about to start. So I had to relocate to another area, but it was so crowded, and I just had to fight for space. So anyways, I wrote this poem, and I wanted to share it with you guys. It's going to tie in nicely with my topic. I believe it is. But I didn't memorize it, so give me grace. But I really want to share it with you guys. It is called You Motherfuckers Make Me Sick. You motherfuckers make me sick. You too busy tiptoeing around that you forgot the ground that ground you. You can't stay grounded when you're busy losing your soul who rooted you whole. You president of the drug initiative and you can't save your son from overdosing. You keeping family secrets to preserve the family name. You could have saved 10 from being a name on a frame, dying to a man that touched them and stole their innocence. You motherfuckers make me sick. You, a pastor of a mega church, so caught up in getting government funding that you forgot who funds them. You motherfuckers make me sick. You so caught up in a curse word that you forgot who you once were. Your daughter selling her ass in the street to get drugs to numb the pain that her mom told her to forget. You, a teacher, and you educating the kids, but you can't teach yourself how to give a fuck about the quiz. You, in the health profession, to heal, but you can't even cure the inequity that keeps you ill. You, in the military, you fighting for freedom of a nation, but you can't even get the promotion because of your racism. You motherfuckers make me sick. You working so hard to keep things together, you forgot when things were better. You were making less, but at least you had the best and your soul wasn't a mess. You motherfuckers make me sick. Thank you. Hey. How's everyone doing? I hope that you're well. I hope you liked my poem. It's all right if you didn't. I loved it. I think that's one of my best. Well, it's up there. Maybe not the best, but one of the best. Anyways, we're going to work on some legs today. I'm wiping down this mat. I wipe down anything before I use it. It's important to clean every item before you use it and after you use it. I'm doing a little stretching. I typically don't do a warm-up like go on a treadmill or elliptical or bike. I should, but I don't. So I work hard in stretching and warming up my muscles in other ways. But I do warm up, so that's the important piece of it. You need to warm up the muscles before you engage in activity, just to decrease your risk of getting injured. So when I wrote this poem, I was like, it may turn some people off. There's a curse word in there. But then I said to myself, am I concerned about turning people off? Not really. I do that a lot. Not intentionally, but there was a message in that. So hopefully you received the message in that. I feel that sometimes people are so caught up in words, as in how something should be said, when it should be said, to whom it should be said, who should say it, that they forget the focus, the action, the behavior, which deserves more attention. And the topic today, I want to discuss the importance of having difficult conversation. And I believe as a public health practitioner, as an advocate for people with mental health and people who are disabled and those who have had preventable stillbirths, I believe that in solving complex problems, there have to be or there has to be difficult conversations. And in doing that, there are going to be a lot of toes that are going to be stepped on. There are a lot of things that are going to be said that you may not like how it's said, but it still needs to be discussed. Hey everyone, so I put up the warning sign because this discussion today might trigger some people, and I'm sorry in advance. So today's topic, please don't forget, it's about having difficult conversations and share. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But today's topic, I wanted to share something with you. It's a transparency post. I do get that I overshare a lot, and I have been through quite a significant amount of trauma. And sometimes I cry and I ask God, and I do curse him out at times too. I don't see the love. I don't feel the love. I don't know why he's allowed certain things to happen to me. And then at times I'll hear this voice, and a small voice, a whisper at times, and it'll simply say, it's so you can help others. You can bring others to me through your pain and your suffering. And then I go into, a little fight night, a battle in my head, a battle with God, a war on words. Anyway, this may help someone and it may not help anyone, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. So a few years ago, several years ago, I was 19. I'm 41 now, to give you some context. So I was 19, and I woke up and I was just like, something's wrong with me. Something's really wrong with me, and I need help. And I don't know what happened, but no, I'm lying. I knew what happened. It was an incident happened with a friend of mine. And I flipped out on her. I snapped at her. I lashed out on her. And she said something. It was so small. It was a minor. It was just a comment about something. And to other people, it wouldn't be that significant. But I really lashed out on her, and I yelled at her. And it was just this rage I had. And she avoided me for a while after that. And I was just like, man, I don't want to lose friends based on, So I said, I need to go get help. Oh, I had to relocate here because the class was starting. So one part of me said, no, let's just drink some tea and go to sleep, sleep it off. It'll be okay. So I drank some tea, went to sleep, and just, that's the culture. The culture is to drink tea, and the tea can cure anything and everything. And the next day, I just felt really bad on how I flipped out on my friend. And I went to counseling. I found a counselor, and I went to her, and I was like, it has to be a Christian counselor. It's going to be a lady. She's going to look like me. I did all that. Check, check, check. And she asked me, what brings you here today? And I said, I'm coming to therapy because I feel like something's wrong with me. I keep lashing out on people who love me. I'm having difficulty saving money. I just keep spending. And I just want to sleep a lot. I should be studying, and I want to sleep. And I would love to hang out with my boyfriend, but I just want to sleep. And I just don't know. I feel like something's wrong with me. And she said, tell me about yourself. And I said, nothing much, just a regular teenager, And she said, has anything happened to you in life? Like, how was your childhood? And so it was great. My parents were married. We lived in a house. I had family. I felt love. Nothing really happened. And she was quiet. And then in her silence, I started speaking. And I said, well, something did happen to me. When I was 15, someone raped me, and I don't know what I did wrong, and I don't know why that happened to me. And, and then, at 18, I had an abortion. And she said, I see. And she said, well, I have some questions for you. And I said, but I didn't finish. You don't even know me. We just met. What questions could you possibly have for me? And she's like, I'm just here to help you. I just have some questions so I can better help you. And she said, do you engage in risky behavior? Any risky behavior? Do you gamble? I said, no. She's like, do you spend frivolously and just spend money impulsively? I said, yeah, I do. I get money and it just goes. And I don't know where it goes. I got a scholarship. I made 4 A's and a C, and I was so proud of myself, and I got a scholarship, and that money was gone in a few hours. And she said, what did you buy? I said, I bought books. I love books. So I spent $1,700 on books. She said, I see. And she said, just books? I said, just books. Just books. Maybe a turtleneck. Maybe like a sweater, a Howard sweater. And she's like, okay. She's like, are you promiscuous? Do you have sex with people, different people? I said, no, I have a boyfriend and I care about him and he treats me so good. And no, I only have my boyfriend. She said, do you drink a lot? Do you do drugs? And I said, I drink wine coolers. That's it. No drugs, no smoking, no, none of that. That's very bad stuff. I don't do any of those things, just wine coolers. And she was just like, okay. She's like, well, are you sleeping a lot? And I said, yeah, I do sleep a lot. And I think I sleep more than an average teenager. Like, I just always want to sleep. And she said, how is your relationship with your family and friends? I said, it's great. They love me. I love them. No problem. And I said, well, occasionally I lash out and I get very angry and it's just, I explode and it's just nothing. It's nothing. They don't do anything out of the ordinary. They could just tell me something and it's just, I get so angry at them. It's just these outbursts that I have, and I just flip out. And I use that word, flip out. And I remember this because I've kept a journal for all these years. And she said, do you think you have trouble keeping relationships? I said, no, not at all. I have friends. And I remember I was like, well, I lost 2. Well, they kind of avoid me because I did lash out on them. And, well, but I do have friends. And I have my high school friends. But we don't talk much, but we're still friends. She's like, I see. And she said, well, do you worry about people abandoning you or do you fear rejection? I said, no. But sometimes, many times I sat by the window and I'm always wondering when my mom is going to come home. And just looking out the window, waiting. And if she doesn't come home if she doesn't come home at a certain time, I get very concerned and I start crying and I'm like, where's my mom? And I just look out the window waiting for her. And I said, I'm always reenacting or thinking about how my sister's going to die, how my mom is going to die. And I know everyone dies, but it consumes me every night, every day. And I start crying like they're going to die soon. And I don't want them to die. And I love all my family members, but particularly my mom and my dad, my mom and my sister. I'm always thinking about my mom and my sister dying. And she said, I see. And she said, well, are you ever worried about hurting yourself or hurting people? And I said, no, I love people. I'm going to be an occupational therapist. I want to heal people and I love people and, but I said, I know something's wrong with me. And I'm just here to figure out what. And she was quiet for a little bit. And she said, well, you've had 2 traumatic events happen to you. And sometimes when trauma occurs, your body, your mind finds a way to protect you from these events. And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? And she said, well, I asked you questions to see how I can help you, to see what you may present with. And I believe you have a personality disorder. And I said, what? I said, no. I said, why would I have a personality disorder? That's crazy, people. That's craziness. No. I come from a great upbringing and childhood, and my parents, they're awesome, and my family, and something's wrong with you. Where did you go to school again? You should get your money back because that degree didn't serve you. And This is why I don't like religious people. They're very judgmental. And I don't want to, this is just crazy. And I came here for help, and I feel like you're judging me, and I want my money back. She's like, well, you didn't pay for this session. You didn't pay. This is a part of your student medical insurance, and no money was exchanged with this session. And she's like, I'm just here to help you. I just want to give you help. Do you feel that you lash out at people who love you? I said, no. No, I don't think you love me. This isn't love. And we're complete strangers, and I'm here to help you. And you're supposed to be here to help me. And she said, okay. She's like, well, what do you want to talk about? So anyway, long story short. And I remember this session because I always kept journals, always keep diaries. And I remember this session because as I was about to go, she said, Trisha, may I call you Trisha? You are a ticking time bomb. And if you don't get help now, you're going to be forced to get help later. And you will end up hurting the people who love you. So I left the session in a huff, and I said, I have to go. And she said, well, I'm here, and you could schedule a session with me whenever, and I'm here to help you. And I just left the session just saying, F this lady, she needs help. This is why I don't go to Christian therapists, and they can't help me, and this is not okay. This is not okay. So what ended up happening after that session is that I just worked really hard to stick to myself so I wouldn't hurt anyone. I didn't engage or talk to people. I withdrew into my bubble. I made 2 good friends while I was in college, but I really didn't put myself out there to network or talk to people. And I remember that moment with that therapist, even though it's been 21 years later, because a lot more trauma happened after that time. And I always remember her. And I always remember thinking, how am I going to tell my mom what this lady says? She's going to be ashamed of me. And I failed her, and I failed their family. And I can't tell my mom or my twin sister because they won't want me to be in their life anymore. They don't want to be in my life. And I always thought, the culture. And I just got to keep this to myself. I got to keep this to myself because over the years, I just kept lashing out at people, And in my 20s, when I started working, first it was acquaintances, then, it became family members, then it became a coworker. And it got to a point in the job where my boss pulled me into her office with this said coworker, and she said, Trisha, we have a situation where a coworker does not feel safe in her work environment. And you need to go see a therapist and deal with what's going on in your personal life because it's affecting your professional life. It's carrying over to your work life, and you're a good therapist, but it's hindering your performance and your social interactions. And she said, if you do not do therapy, then I will have to put you on probation. And then if you don't finish it within this time span, then I will have to terminate you. And I left the office, but after that, I wrote a letter. I wrote an email about this interaction and what she stated and how the termination came to be and whatever else, So there's a paper trail. But I remember pivotally, you see how I try to expand that word. Anyway, I remember that moment too because my brother had invited me to this event at the White House. And I always wanted to go to the White House. That was on my bucket list for an event, for just something, a celebration. And my brother was being awarded for a Champions of Change award at the White House. And they were acknowledging his work that he was doing in sustainable energy, improving access to energy in sub-Saharan Africa. And at that time, he was analyzing the Northeast Asia's investment in renewable energy and how that affects the U.S. national security. So I was like, I really want to go to this event, but I can't request for a time off, and I'm already on, thin ice. So I declined going to that event for my brother. And to this day, that hurts me. I think, a few months, maybe last year, I apologized to him for not being able to attend that event. But I went to therapy because I was forced to, and to deal with the issue. And I just did it for probably a session or two, and then I stopped going. It was a chore. It was a task. I said what I had to say, did what I had to do. It didn't really benefit me, or I didn't go for help per se at that time. But then another traumatic event happened, and it forced my hand to go. This was now the fall at work. And this therapist was just like, has someone ever told you that perhaps you have borderline personality disorder? I said, no one has told me that. No one has told me that. And I've never heard that. And no one has told me that. I said, someone told me I may have a disorder, a personality disorder, but never borderline personality disorder. What's that? And she began to tell me some of the symptoms that I described, or that I possess, that she said certain things. I'm like, oh, wow, that's me. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's me. Textbook. Everything you said, that's me. That's what I do. That's what I'm going through. That's what. And I said, I worked so hard to build myself up. I built my credit. I was saving money in my 401k. I was like, took me years to get to the 726 credit score. And another traumatic event happened, waking up during surgery with my son, during a C-section. It just, boom. It's just everything I worked so hard to build up is just collapsed, build up relationships and doing well, expressing myself with my family, just boom, So I'm saying all this to say that I'm crazy smart, I'm crazy kind, I'm crazy giving, and I'm crazy ambitious. And when people say I'm crazy or whatever person's crazy, it's a triggered moment for me. And I want to say your fatness and your slackness is no different than my mental struggle. And if you take offense to what I just said, then maybe this message is for you. As I may be a ticking time bomb at times with my mental struggles, as you may be with your weight, as you may be with your hate, with your denial, your physical display and your self-hate, whether it's your diabetes, your high blood pressure, your disregard for rights, superiority complex, the lack of treatment or maltreatment of God's people, the denial of sexual assaults that have been committed against you or that you have allowed, that you have been quiet about, your silence is complicity. These things are no different than me trying to overcome my mental struggles. I want to tell you that people do not just become addicts overnight. They don't willingly choose health challenges. They don't wake up day by day and say, I want to be sexually assaulted. I want to be fat. I want to sniff cocaine until the blood vessels in my nose burst. I want to beat my husband into submission. I want to molest children. You know, people don't initially wake up to want to do those things. And I'm not talking about fetishes and people who really like those deviant behaviors. I'm not talking about that. So in this culture, and my culture and other people's culture, there's a generational trauma, generational hurt, generation of dismissals that need to be addressed. And today it starts with you. It shouldn't take someone dying for the truth to be told. Some people think that with death, secrets die. But I'm here to tell you that death brings more secrets alive, more questions, more anger, and more hurt.
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alone there. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And it makes me wonder,
All right, so I said people don't become addicts overnight. Addiction and mental health tend to walk hand in hand. People drink, smoke excessively. They tend to numb something. They want to numb something. They want to forget something. I'm showing you guys my legs. You see that? I'm working, guys. So there was a survey done in 2022 by an organization called the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And this is a branch of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. In 2022, they released a survey to state that 1 in 20 adults ages 18 or older had serious thoughts of suicide in the past year. And 1 in 8 adolescents aged 12 to 17 had serious thoughts of suicide in the past year. This organization basically collects data that informs knowledge, policy, and action. And they want to know what people's behaviors are, so there can be proper policies and things implemented to help with the mental health crisis and drug epidemic that we're currently going through. I want you guys to remember your power, and to do that, it doesn't require something grandiose. Speaking up. When you see something, say something. When I go to New York and I ride the train, I always see that post. You were told to mind your business about matters, and you were told to just keep minding your business, and then don't go into any other problems, don't focus on. But I want you to know that when your child goes missing, when your child's teacher is giving excessive punishment that is out of line with your child's behavior, when there's a wrong operation that was done to your loved one, a wrong body part removed, or something happened during the operation, when your spouse was wrongly fired doing their job, when you worked for 30 years and paid into insurance, into your pension, and then the company did away with the pension, problems will find you. And if you keep staying silent about matters of importance, there will come a time when someone and people will stay silent of a matter that is important to you. God is great. Don't worry about me. I am overcoming many challenges. I am good. But remember your power.